guys. All right, it is Friday. Yippee, 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 yay. All right, today is the 8th. It is Friday. All right, we were in, and I still, I didn't put the page numbers because this was a carried over from yesterday. So let me stick that in there. So this section here starts on 318. And this is all about, so let me bring this up so you can see my book. This is all about interpreting remainders. So yesterday we talked about different ways that we can, different ways that we can interpret remainders. So just as a reminder, sometimes the answer is the quotient. Sometimes we need to add 1 to the quotient, and sometimes the answer might be our remainder. So when we interpret them, that means once we get our answer, we kind of just stop and we go back to the question and what this is all about, and we ask ourselves, what was it that they were asking, and are they asking for how many those groups that you get, or is it asking for what's left over, or whatever. And so you really have to go back to the story and really connect your answer to that. So starting on page 320, we did a little bit of review about what we had talked about, and then we went to page 320 and we did a couple problems together. So the first one says Jim has a puppet pattern that calls for 6 feet of fleece. He has 50 feet of fleece. If he makes the greatest number of puppets possible, how much fleece will he have? So I'm going to slide this over, and I'm going to work here on my paper. Let me get a marker. All right, so we know that he has 50 feet of fleece. So if you think of that like this big piece of fabric, let's say, and this is 50 feet of fleece. Now, he's trying to make puppets, and every time he makes a puppet, he's going to use 6 feet. So he's going to take a little portion, cut it off, make a puppet. Take another little portion, cut it off, make a puppet. So what we're trying to find is we don't know how many of these puppets he's going to make. So we're going to take 50 and we're going to divide it by 6, and that's going to give us the number of puppets he can make. So we divided 50 divided by 6. Here I know that 6, there's no groups of 6, it's just 5. So then I'm going to do groups of 6 into 50. And so when I do my groups of 6, I'm going to skip count. So I'm going to think, okay, one group would be 6, 2 would be 12, 6 times 3 is 18, 6 times 4 is 24, 6 times 5 is 30, 6 times 6 is 36, 6 times 7 is 42, 6 times 8 is 48, and where am I? 6 times 9 is 54. So then I'm going to say, okay, I've got 50. Well, here's my groups. 50 falls right in here. Well, I can't go to 9 groups because that's too many. So I'm going to stop here, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 groups. So my groups goes on top. Then I multiply. 8 times 6 is 48. Subtract that. 50 minus 48 is 2. So I have 8 puppets that I can make. And the 2, this remainder 2 that's left over, there are 2 feet of the fleece that's left. Because remember, when I was back up here, that means that I can take out 8. So that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I can pull out 8 groups of 6. So puppet, 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 puppet. Well, this last right here is only 2 feet. I can't make a puppet with that one, so I can only make 8 puppets. And so when it's asking what's the greatest number I can make of puppets, that would be my answer. I'm going to ignore the remainder. I don't need it for this problem. All right, the next one. Clear off some space here. All right, we'll work in this little section right here so I won't waste too much paper. All right, the next problem says that we have Kathy, and Kathy, I'm on number 9 on page 320. Number 9, page 320. It says Kathy has 10 tortillas. So I'm going to go ahead and make my 10 tortillas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And she has 43 pepperoni slices, and she will use 7 of the pepperonis for each pizza. And after she makes all the pepperoni pizzas that she can, she's going to make cheese. We want to know how many cheese she's going to make. So the only real information that it gave me to start with is the pepperoni. So if I have 43 pieces of pepperoni, and I'm going to put 7 on each pizza, then that means I need to know how many times 7 will go into 43. So just like here, I could do my skip counting. Those of you that are getting good at your multiplication facts, you know that 6 times 7 is 42, and 7 times 7 is 49, which would be too much. So I'm going to go with 7 times 6, since that's the closest, and that equals 42. I subtract, and that leaves me with 1. So here, there are 6 pizzas that are going to be pepperoni. So I'm going to go ahead and label pepperoni, P for pepperoni, into 6 of my pizzas. Well, she has this remainder 1 here. Who are we talking about? Miss Kathy. Miss Kathy has this remainder 1. That means that there's 1 little pepperoni left over, but I don't want a pizza with just 1 pepperoni. Remember, they had to have 7. So I don't care about this remainder. We're going to just leave that off. We only care about the 6 that we could make. And then it says the rest are going to be cheese. So cheese, 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 and cheese. So it says, how many cheese pizzas can she make? Well, she made these right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 4 cheese. 4 cheese. All right. And that was pointed there. Okay, then we flipped over to page 322. And on 322, let me find, I got a whole other sheet back here. All right, on 322, let me cover up my work here so I can do it with you guys. All right, on 322, we have Maria, and Maria has 20 yards of fabric to make 8 tablecloths. How long will each tablecloth be if she cuts the fabric into equal pieces? So this is kind of like the fleece problem, but it's a little bit switched. So we have 20 yards of fabric. So here's my fabric. And this is 20 yards. And I want to make 8 tablecloths. So I'm going to use this whole amount, and I need to break it off into 8 equal pieces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. Now, the reason that this one is different is because this time it tells me exactly how many I'm making. I just don't know how long each one is. On this other problem here, it told us that they were 6 feet each. I just didn't know how many groups of 6 I could pull out. So this one's a little bit different, but it's still dividing. We're still going to do 20 divided by 8. Okay. So here, I'm going to set up my division problem. And I know that 8 can go into 20. If I skip count here, that would be 8, 16, 24. 24 is too many, so I'm going to stop at my two groups. 2 times 8 is 16. Subtract that, you get 4. So my answer is 2 remainder 4. Well, I need to know how much each of these are. So I have to use this remainder, and I'm going to think about it. It's kind of like the pizza problem we did, where we had to choose. We had to put it into a fraction, because I'm using all 20 yards. So here I can each one is at least 2 yards. But then that's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 times 2 is 16, and I started with 20. So there's 4 yards that are left. I have to be able to split that 4 yards that are left between these 8, what are they? 8 tablecloths. Okay. So if I have 4 yards for 8 tablecloths, then I can give a little bit extra to each one. So we change that into a fraction. We take our remainder and take this number here on the outside, and we make them into a fraction. The remainder is the numerator. Put this down here. And the 8 is going to be our denominator. Well, 4/8, when we looked on our answer choices, 4/8 wasn't one of the options. And the 2 is the whole number, so it goes in front. 2 and 4/8. So we needed to simplify. So we divided the top and the bottom. We can choose a number that is divisible by each of these, 4 and 8. 4 divided by 4, we're still going to have our 2 wholes. 4 divided by 4 is 1, and 8 divided by 4 is 2. So 2.5 is how long each of the little pieces are going, or each of the tablecloths are going to be. So if we added up all of this, we should get back to 20. So we can go and we can check ourselves. So all of those 2's equaled 16. A half and a half is a whole, so that'd be 1 whole, half and a half, 2 wholes, half and a half, 3 wholes, half and a half, 4 wholes. When we add that together, we get back to our 20 yards, so we know that we did it correct. Okay, so in this one, we needed that full 20 yards. So since we were left with 4, we had to turn it into a fraction. Then we had to take what we know about fractions and simplify it, and we got 2.5. And that was problem 9 on the independent work. So for the rest of the independent work, students did questions 6 through 11. We had just done that number 9 together because we hadn't practiced too much of the fraction, so I wanted to do that one together. So that was what we did in math today. And then and that whole section was in our volume 1 book. And then let's see, 6 through 11. All right. And for reading today, we took our Unit 4 assessment, and that was in Aware. So whenever you log into Launchpad, you go to Aware and log in with your username, which is your lunch code, and your password is your birthday, 2 numbers for the month, 2 numbers for the date, and 4 for the year with the slashes. So I'll put that on here. Username is the student ID, and the password is your 00-00-000. All right, birthday in that format. All right. Then we did that. Um, 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 all right, we continued that into writing time. Excuse me. And then for writing, we finished up our writing compositions that we've been doing, and we uploaded those to Seesaw. So when you go into, oops, I already have it open. When you go into Seesaw, it says under activities, upload your writing here. And so you just add a response. And if you made your own in your own Google Class, like your own Google Doc, then you can upload it here and you click select from Google Drive, and then it'll bring up your drive, and then you choose, which document it is. If you wrote it in the one that we were all sharing, then you can either go to Drawing or Note, and you can just copy and paste it into there. In writing also today, we did Awubis. So we clicked here, went to the web link, and did some practice questions on there with what we've been learning this week. And then let me add that on here. All right. Then we came back and we looked at some weather tools. So students had a lesson on Tuesday when we did our map testing. They had some videos. There were 3 little short ones that went over different weather tools. And then we also talked about them when we read Dan the Meteorologist. And so we went over them to review today. And then so we put these where they go and match that up, excuse me. And then they had an assignment on here, Weather Tools Friday quiz, to do here. So you just click on this, click your web link. Then that was for science today. And then we just made sure everything was completed from the week. Then we did social studies. And then our Fun Friday today is this link here. There's different review games and Connect 4 and some pixel art, things like that they can do. All right, so let me go through here. So, all right, so Fun Friday, the Awubis is the writing quiz. Math Wednesday through Friday, and then the other one on here that says Monday and Tuesday. Make sure both of these, this is your math work that we've been doing all week long. You've got your writing needs to be turned in, your social studies needs to be turned in. The science, this was from questions from the reading that we did. This reading quiz, I forgot to mention this. We did this one. This one goes with the donuts, the Dawn of the Donuts. So there's questions that are attached to that. And then the weather tools. And then for Seesaw for this week, you're uploading your writing here. Reading assessment, this is just if you couldn't get into Aware, or if you couldn't, or if you had corrections to make, you were using that. If not, you can just ignore that. And then science, Dan the Meteorologist, this was the reading that goes with these questions here. Weather tools, we did that together today. That can be turned in. The math daily review we're still working on, so that can sit there till next week. The reading informational text whole group, these were the articles and activities that we did together, so that can be turned in. Then you have your Dawn of the Donut, the read aloud. You needed to click this. You needed to read each of the pages. And then on these activities that are throughout, you needed to make sure that you finished solving or answering all those. And then those are this reading quiz that's the thing that ties to the donut page. After the reading, there's questions. And that was everything for this week. So make sure all of those are turned in, and make sure all of social studies has been graded. So go back and see if you need to make any corrections. The weather tools, the reading, the Dan, the meteorologist, the Awubis, all of those have been graded. So make sure you're happy with those grades, because those will be going into the grade book. And then make sure I'll be reading your writings. So I can't wait to read those. I've seen some just huge improvements. So keep up the good work on that. And then, of course, your math, make sure math will be moving into more algorithm all next week. And so this week we were using those beans a lot, and we were just kind of touching the surface. Next week, we're going to get a lot bigger numbers. We'll be moving into the hundreds and thousands. So make sure that if you had any questions from anything this week, make sure you send them to me. Make sure if you missed any this week that you're going back and you're checking, because we want to make sure that we have pretty much everything we did this week was a review from last year. So we wanted to do that, and then we'll be all ready to go for when we jump into it next week. So keep the questions coming and enjoy your weekend, and I will see you guys Monday. Bye.